All right, let's talk about fundraising. And I want you to just forget everything you think you know about it, because it's not really about chasing investors. It's about engineering a process. Today, we're going to dive into a system called Fundraising OS, and it's all about putting you back in control of your capital raise.
Most founders are convinced that raising capital is just hard, period. But this quote, it totally refrains that. The real challenge isn't just getting a check. Anyone could get lucky, right? It's getting that check efficiently and, more importantly, on your terms. That's the huge difference between a win and a really costly distraction.
Okay, so this slide just nails the whole shift in mindset. On the left, you've got the old way. It's that chaotic scramble, right? You're chasing investors, you're running on emotion and story, and your valuation is, basically guesswork. But then look at the right. That's the new, engineered way. It's a system. It's driven by data. And the whole process becomes predictable. It's really about swapping out that chaos for control.
So, first things first, let's really dig into the problem that so many founders face. We're calling it the fundraising gamble. And honestly, for most people, that's exactly what it feels like.
Okay, take a look at these and tell me if any of them sound familiar. You're out there pitching a great story, but you haven't really validated the economic model behind it. Or maybe you take some cash that looks good on the surface, but it completely breaks your margin structure down the line. Big oof. Or the timing is just off. You're either way too early or way too late. But you know what the biggest trap, the one we see all the time, is chasing investors before you've even engineered the numbers. Every single one of these mistakes turns your fundraising process into a total gamble.
So how do we get out of that gambling mindset? Well, we stop gambling. We adopt an engineered approach, and this is the core of the whole solution.
So what exactly is Fundraising OS? Look, it's way more than just some fancy pitch deck template. I want you to think of it like a complete operating system for your entire fundraise. It takes your financial models, your traction analytics, your capital strategy, and it weaves them all together into one cohesive system. And what's the goal? The goal is to turn your company into what every investor is looking for, an investor-grade asset with predictable, totally justifiable value.
And you might be wondering, is this for me? Well, it's specifically built for founders and execs who are raising anywhere from about $250 grand up to $10 million. So yeah, we're talking about your pre-seed, your Series A, your big growth rounds. This is exactly the stage where making that leap from just telling a story to building a system is absolutely crucial.
This is where that abstract idea of an operating system becomes super concrete. These are the actual, tangible things you walk away with. An investor-ready financial model that's grounded in reality. A capital narrative deck. Notice the name. It's a narrative, but it's backed by hard data. You get a funding strategy map that shows you exactly who to talk to and in what order. And of course, a valuation model that isn't just a number you pulled out of thin air.
All right, so how does this thing actually work? It's not magic, it's a process. It's broken down into this really clear three-phase blueprint. It's all about taking you logically from diagnosis all the way to execution.
Let's walk through this blueprint together. Phase 1 is the diagnostic. We're basically doing a deep audit of your entire financial and revenue architecture to find what we call the valuation gap. Then comes Phase 2, the build. This is where we engineer that integrated financial model and construct your data-backed capital narrative deck. And finally, Phase 3, strategy. We take all those amazing assets we just built and use them to create a precise playbook, identifying the right investors, sequencing the raise, and defining your terms for execution. See? It's a clear path. Audit, build, execute.
Now, when you follow this blueprint, something fundamental shifts. You start moving away from the guesswork of a traditional raise and into a process that's all about certainty and control.
The first big outcome, and honestly maybe the most important one, is this. You have a clear justification for your valuation. No more guesswork. So when an investor leans across the table and asks, so how'd you get to this number? You don't just mumble something about market trends. You walk them through a mathematical model that's derived from your own operations. It is a total game changer.
Second, the process itself forces you to build the very financial systems that investors are going to demand during diligence anyway. So you're ahead of the game. It shows them you have a tight grip on your business and you really understand the levers of growth. It sends a powerful signal that you are a sophisticated operator who is ready to scale.
And finally, all of this work produces a playbook that helps you find the right kind of investors. See, when your numbers and your story are this locked in, you naturally start attracting partners who are truly aligned with your vision and your metrics, not just tourists chasing the latest hot trend. You end up with smart money, not just any money.
Ultimately, this entire approach is about changing your role in the process. You stop being a salesperson just pitching a dream. You become the architect of your company's financial future. This quote right here, this is the whole philosophy in a nutshell. It's about positioning yourself as the architect of your valuation, not a subject of it. Instead of going out to the market and basically asking, hey, what do you think I'm worth? You present the blueprint. You justify the numbers. You control the conversation from the word go.
So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. As you gear up for your next capital raise, or even if you're in the middle of one right now, just ask yourself, honestly, is your fundraising a gamble? Is it based on hope and hustle? Or is it an engineered system built on data and a solid strategy? Because the answer to that question, well, it could change absolutely everything.